So, as you know, Suze, end of year awards, the Humanitarian of the Year award in Major League Soccer is handed out every year, and I absolutely it wouldn't be our season finale without your jackhammer. I'm happy that he made a appearance. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Call Up. Jillian Sakovitz alongside Susanna Collins. It is holiday season. We are feeling festive. It's also MLS Cup week.
It's a lot going on.
And who do we have making MLS Cup predictions and, I don't know, talking ownership?
This is, I cannot believe the way that we are ending this season, Jill, because our last guest, Landon Donovan, blew my mind, got emotional after that one. And this one, I'm just giddy. I'm just giddy because I feel like we manifested this in our heads. We wanted this guest, and then poof, it just happens. It just happens.
Over a year and a half at the genesis of this podcast, when we first began it and we made like our wish list and our pitch of the types of people we'd want to have on, this was one of them. Becky G.
Becky freaking G is on the Call Up.
Singer, actress, philanthropist, but we had her on to talk about being co-owner of new NWSL side, Angel City FC. They are set to play in 2022. At that time, they'll become the 11th team in the NWSL. And I mean, you talk about, Susanna Collins, you talk about heavy hitters with this team.
It's a who's who. It's a who's who of ownership.
The investors include the likes of Billie Jean King, Candace Parker, Lindsey Vonn, PK Subban, Kobe Jones, James Corden. We didn't really care about them, though. We wanted to know about Eva Longoria, Serena Williams, from Becky G herself. Natalie Portman.
An Oscar winner, NBD.
Casual. And they are just, the team is not starting, like we said, for over a year, but their vision, what they want this team to do, and forget on the field, but the way that they're going to get this team ingrained in the community, it really is next level. And we've seen MLS push the envelope a little bit with how teams kind of make a splash in the community. And I think, no offense, James Corden, I think having a bunch of women sitting at the table, you always say it, women get things done. I am so excited to see what this team does and how they change the lives and the trajectory of young girls. You know, Becky G makes the point, and we'll hear it from her, of, yeah, I played soccer, but I couldn't look up to anyone. And, you know, I can think about that as a kid playing. I couldn't have told you growing up, you know, as a little kid, I had number 9 for Mia Hamm. But there wasn't a bunch of teams that I followed, or I didn't get to put the TV on and watch women play every weekend. And the fact that all of these women are putting their brains together to kind of make that the model, I love it.
I just want to add too, I mean, I was the same. I was always the only girl on my team. You know, it was me and the boys. And that was sort of like my youth experience. And I think that sort of, that desire to work harder and to kind of prove yourself started at such a young age. And I think that is true for a lot of women around the world. You know, like we had to kind of just constantly sort of fight for our place at the table. And these ladies have not only do they have a place at the table, they wiped the table clean and said, nope, this is ours. This is ours. And from the supporters groups, I have friends who are board members on the supporters groups. Like, it is all run by females. And I know based on everything that I know about these women, what we've read, what we have seen so far, this is going to be a well-oiled machine. They are bringing women's soccer to Los Angeles, which, by the way, I can't believe that it's taken this long to get a women's team in Los Angeles, since, you know, we've got 2 men's teams there now. So it's it makes perfect sense. It's going to thrive. It's going to be a success. And the conversation that we have with Becky G is so inspiring. And she is so passionate about being a part of this project, and her reasons for wanting to get behind this team it's really, really special. And like I said, inspiring. So it's a great conversation, and man, are we closing out with a bang, sister.
I'm going to make one prediction about Angel City FC. We also get her MLS Cup prediction. We get Becky G's signings wish list per se. But I'm going to bet the Angel City FC email inbox. I think emails probably get answered very quickly and very efficiently. Yes, that's just a little guess.
Little guess. We are here for all of it. And on that note, shall we get to it? A little here for this, Jillian Zakovich?
Why the heck not?
Why the heck not? Let's go. So, guys, guess what? The MLS Cup final happening this Saturday in Columbus, y'all. It's going to be cold. We know that. So it's going to be the Columbus Crew hosting the Seattle Sounders after a wild Western Conference final, which was just bananas. But Seattle are in it once again. But how cool is this, Jill? This is the final match that is going to be played at Mapfre Stadium. And it's an MLS Cup final. You know, they're getting their brand new stadium next year. They're saying farewell to history. Now, Mapfre Stadium, worth pointing out, this was one of the first soccer-specific stadiums that was built in America. And so they've had so many incredible matches there. The U.S. men's national team have had a very rich history playing at this stadium. So it's kind of an end of an era, but what a way to send it out, you know? It's
Mapfre
just really cool.
It's the cathedral, I think, of the beginning of U.S. soccer and MLS. And for it to go out with a bang, to quote Bart Scott, I think it's poetic justice. I'm really excited. I mean, it's bittersweet in so many ways. I think about personally, my first year working for Major League Soccer was 2015 when the Columbus Crew hosted the Portland Timbers, who were then coached by now Crew coach Caleb Porter. And it's going to be tough. I mean, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you know, it's after 6 years not going to an MLS Cup will be really interesting. It was crazy to take in the conference championships from my couch. But I'm so excited, Suze, to say that we are having an MLS Cup in 2020.
We are. What an achievement. We did not know that we would be saying those words back in March. So it's pretty remarkable. And I also just want to say too, that I'm very, very glad. Obviously they're not going to have the stadium at full capacity because of COVID and safety regulations, but there will be some fans in the stadium. And I'm just so happy that there's going to be at least some that will be able to take this in, enjoy this last hurrah as we say farewell to we just call it, it's a legendary stadium. So we're here for it.
Major League Soccer announcing this week that the 2020 MLS Works Humanitarian of the Year has been awarded to the Black Players for Change Coalition. What a good move. It consists of, I'm going to go right through your jackhammer. It consists of more than 170 players, coaches, and staff. The organization was announced on Juneteenth. It all came, during this Black Lives Matter movement. And when you think about this year, Susanna Collins, and the Black Lives Matter movement that came and the way MLS players, Justin Morrow and everyone else that's behind him got right to it and got themselves also ready for being on the international stage with the MLS's back tournament. I really couldn't see a better move in MLS making the 2020 MLS Works Humanitarian of the Year, the Black Players for Change.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think that what was so remarkable to me about this was that it came together so quickly. And this was all the players. This was not the league, putting this together. This was an initiative put together by guys like Justin Morrow and Warren Creavalle and Jeremy Abobasi and all of these guys coming together and saying, no, this matters. This is important. And they came together so quickly. I will never forget, Jill, the opening match of the MLS's back tournament.
Chills.
And the power of that moment of seeing all of those guys in the Black Lives Matters t-shirts, taking a knee, holding their fist up in the air, and taking those moments to honor the life of George Floyd, and just seeing all of the protests around and just taking a moment to acknowledge what was happening in the world. You know, it's bigger than soccer, so much bigger than sports. And that was all put together by the players. And I could not be more proud of those guys. I am so very, very proud of our players that put this together, that decided that humanity is more important than a game. And it was really, really inspiring. And they are so deserving of this award. I just want to continue to put a spotlight on it. And I'm excited to see what they continue to do moving forward, because they're a big voice, a big platform.
George Floyd was murdered on May 25th.
Mm-hmm.
The MLS's Back tournament kicked off on July 8th. And everything that was going on, everything that was happening in the world, I'm to your point, I'm moved at how quickly everybody got everything together and understood how important it was, while also managing a pandemic, training, quarantine, and everything else that they did. So
yeah, I want to give like one big end of the year award and hug to all of our players, because this year, man, woo, it was something else. And they really put themselves through the ringer. All right, time now for our AT&T 5G call to the field. And Jill, last week I said we had peaked, but I lied, because it's this week that we are peaking. We have an award-winning recording artist, an actress, a philanthropist, and now part owner of the NWSL's Angel City FC, the one and only Becky G. Becky G. Oh my God. It's so amazing to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. I just want to show you real quick. I wore hoops just for you.
Hey, Hoop Gang. I love it.
Hoop Gang.
Now, Becky, we've been looking out for you. We've been thinking about you. We had your partner, Sebastian Lletget, on a year and a half ago. And we just want to check in on something. We're going to play a quick clip for you.
We know you're pretty perfect, but if there's one thing that really grinds Becky's gears, that really gets her going, your most annoying habit, what is it?
Oh, my most annoying habit? Oh, it's probably when I trim my beard and all the hairs go everywhere.
That's mine. We don't love that. Oh, that is my biggest pet peeve.
Has there been improvement, Becky G?
You know, I don't like to put anybody's business out there or make anyone look bad, but because I live with him and I've had to learn how to deal with it, it's still happening. But it's okay. You know, I'd rather him not look all crazy, Wolverine-like. He just needs to, keep it tamed. So we compromised on that.
I told him too, you just keep the Clorox wipes right by the sink. You just wipe it out.
Wipe it down. Yeah.
And when we spoke to Sebastian, that was about 6 months pre-pandemic. So I can only imagine that those annoying habits get a little more annoying when Suzanne and I are on the road all year, you're on the road all year, and now not so much.
This is true. But you know what? I'm actually thankful for the time that we've had together, because it's time that in the entirety of our relationship, we never had before. Like we've lived together over 2 years now, and this is like the first time that we actually feel like we live together.
That's so really, and you're still going strong, because we've heard of a lot of couples like breaking up during the COVID stretch, but like as long as you can keep it together under these circumstances, I think you're doing something right.
We started like long distance. Basically, I was living in Vancouver at the time, shooting my first movie. He was here in LA playing for Galaxy. And it's just like, once you start with like the worst of the worst circumstances of barely ever seeing each other, I feel like when you have time together, it's like a breath of fresh air. It actually like works out for you. Or at least it did for us in our case. So yeah, I feel like we manage it pretty well.
I love to hear that. That's inspiring. And you guys you're like one of our favorite power couples. And
I love it.
We'll just say it now, Becky, you're the better half of that power couple. But no offense, Sebastian. But let's talk Angel City.
Yes, please.
This is so huge. Women's soccer is coming to your hometown, Los Angeles, the city of angels. Love the name Angel City FC. It's just absolutely perfect. And one of the things that I found so interesting, Becky, is that they didn't come to you. You were the one that was actively pursuing them to be a part of that. Can you explain why this was so important for you to be a part of bringing soccer to Los Angeles?
You know, I grew up playing soccer. Obviously, as a proud Mexican American, football is such a huge part of our culture and was such a huge part of my childhood. And I just really had a moment thinking to myself, wow, when I was a little girl, not that my professional soccer career was going to go anywhere, but I would have played so differently knowing that there was even the slightest chance that I could play for my city's team, my city's women's team. But it didn't exist. It didn't exist. And now that obviously, my partner is a footballer and seeing, the dedication, the hard work that comes with it, there's a new layer of admiration for the sport. And, you never know what the future holds. And I just think, man, if we ever had a daughter, I could tell her, if she tells me, I want to be like daddy, I don't have to tell her, no, honey, that's not possible. I can actually tell her that she can be better than daddy. And that makes me really happy. So, there was just a lot of layers to it. It's like, of course, because of my partner, but also just especially because it's my city and it's a historical moment. And there is an interesting thing now that our ACFC home has been announced, because LAFC plays at our home, or they're welcoming us into their home, and obviously that's not the LA Galaxy Stadium.
No, it's not. It's not.
I'm a little bit on the dark side right now.
Is Sebastian going to be okay with you making the trek to Bank of California Stadium to support?
He's gonna have to.
Ladies?
He's gonna have to be okay
because you're
it.
an owner, and he has to, and you have to go to work.
Exactly.
There is such a girl power, woman power roster behind this team. I mean, Natalie Portman, Eva Longoria, Serena Williams, people have broken barriers in their own sports, in their own entertainment business. What did it mean to you to kind of be at the forefront of something that's so major? The NWSL bringing a team to Los Angeles. What did that mean to you?
There's a lot of differences, what it is to be a female athlete versus a woman in the, music industry, for instance, or to be an actress in the world of entertainment. But there's also a lot of similarities. And some of those similarities are, I think, the pillars of what bring us together as women, knowing that equality is so important to us, and that a lot of people throw around the word feminist, right? And it's sometimes even used with like a negative connotation. And I'm like, why?
Like an annoying one.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? We're not trying to create a girls' club here. We're just trying to show you guys that we're just as capable and we're just as worthy of the opportunities. And I, couldn't use my own story as an example. I grew up in Inglewood, a young Latina girl, and I wanted to be a rapper. And I was told that girls can't be rappers. And I was like, but Missy Elliott did it, and Left Eye from TLC did it. Like, why can't I do it? Same with, being most of the times the youngest person in the room, the only person of color in the room, the only woman in the room. It's like, how many times was I going to feel this way? And I feel like for women in sports, there's so many similarities. It's this constant thing of having to work harder, having to prove yourself even more so, that you're worthy of the opportunities, that you're worthy of the eyes and attention. And I think that Angel City is going to be more than just the sport itself. It's going to be a movement. It's already started. And that's what makes me so proud to be a part of it. And it just goes to tell you, like, I literally had dreams about it. I was like, I have to be a part of Angel City. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I called Julie. I got on a call with Julie and I was like, hey lady, I'm Becky. Nice to meet you. What do I have to do? And she blew me away with all of, the numbers, just the statistics alone. I was just like, the potential that we have. And like I said, there's so much talent out there. There's so much talent. And I can't wait to, do so much for the community outside of the stadium who are going to be coming to see us play. And like I said, who knows? We might have some homegrown players one day eventually playing for our team. Like, that's my hope,
It's so true. And the way you said it was absolutely perfect. For women, we are so used to working hard to get stuff done. We know we have to put in that extra mile because we're looking for a seat at the table. We're looking for a seat at the boys' table. And in this role for you, that's exactly what you guys are doing, except you guys have cleared the table. You're like, nope. And we know, Becky, Becky, that women get stuff done. We just do. We get stuff done. And I think from an owner's perspective now, because you are an owner of a professional soccer team, I want you to put your owner hat on right now. Put that crown on right where it belongs. What would be a dream signing for you? A player that you would love to see on Angel City FC?
I mean, it's so interesting because I feel like we have she's maybe not even on the scene yet. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind for me, because I got discovered off of YouTube, which at the time was it's kind of like normal now. I mean, the new thing's like TikTok, right? But it literally was one of those things where everyone was doing it. So it almost felt like you were just throwing, it's like the lottery. There's so much talent out there that I can't wait to discover the new talent. We're already seeing it in the MLS, right? We're having so many homegrown players, as to where back in the days it was getting a lot of the players from Latin America or getting the players from Europe, which we still do, but the homegrown players to play for your city. I think those are the things that I'm really looking forward to. So I know she's out there.
I love it.
Maybe we don't know her name yet,
That's such a good answer.
It'll be so interesting to kind of see investment in the community. And I know that's a really big thing for Angel City. 3 pillars you mentioned: equality, essentials, and education. You've stated their commitment to support Black-owned businesses, the LGBTQ communities. You guys will tackle things like food and housing insecurity for young athletes. I love this commitment. 10% of ACFC sponsorship funds are going to go towards the 3 pillars. What does that mean to you, and just kind of honing in on your own background and the own way that you grew up, of knowing that is something that this team that is not starting play until 2022 is already committing to?
Yeah, I mean, literally our first call, we were all crying. For all of us, we were all so emotional, and just the ideas that we were throwing out there, just even in regards to essentials, right? I grew up, I mean, I think my first pair of boots were from a Kmart, you know what I mean? And they were on sale. We couldn't afford the essentials, and to know that kids who have talent will be provided through us the opportunity to have the things that they need to then be elevated even more, so to be provided more opportunity to display their talents, and just get better at their craft. I think that to me is it's a beautiful thing, because I was one of those kids too. Even in regards to food and housing, has nothing to do with the sport, but everything to do with the sport. Because I remember in school, we had to, I was homeless at one point. Me and my family, we lived in my grandparents' garage. We lost our home in the 2008 crash. And it was a time that was very formative for me as a person. I was only a kid. I was 9, but for me, it was one of those times where, you're signing up for free meals at school. You don't know if you should be embarrassed or if this is just using, what's out there. And I feel like it's not, I don't want kids to feel like it's charity. It's actually because they are worthy of it, and changing the stigma around these things, and asking for help, and knowing that it's okay, and I think that us at Angel City, we're really going to try to create those safe spaces for our youth, for our young women specifically, to know that they are not alone and they have resources. within us.
It's so important. I think that connection between community and soccer, they're two of these things that intersect, and it's so important for kids to have those opportunities. And it's just really incredible to see the commitment that Angel City has made to bringing the beautiful game that we know and love and making it accessible for more people. It's really, really cool. Becky, I want to dive a little bit more into your connection to the game. Obviously, we know that your partner Sebastian is a professional.
As he literally FaceTimes me right now.
Bless him. Tell him we said hey.
I will.
Your grandparents are from Mexico. I have to imagine they are massive fans of the Mexican national team, El Tri. What is it like when Sebastian gets the call up to the U.S. men's national team, and let's say they got a big match against Mexico? Who are you cheering for? Does it create any family divisions? What does that look like?
This is like the good and bad thing about the internet, right? Is that like everything exists forever. And so like my fans know, like I growing up, like it's Mexico all day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I'm the 200%. I'm 100% proud to be American, and I'm from Inglewood, California. I'm also 100% proud of the blood that runs through my veins. So if it's possible to like get a jersey that's like literally half Lletget and then maybe like half like a Dos Santos on the other side,
there
he's
we
like
go.
my bro now. You know, I'm still like repping both sides. It's true to me. But for my grandparents, it's hilarious because they love him so much. I mean, at first I was like, do you love him because he's a footballer and you love football, or because you actually think he's a good guy? And obviously Sebastian he's literally a walking heart. He's a sweetheart. And my grandparents just are so happy for him anytime he steps onto the pitch. It's just like, I gotta watch. My grandpa probably watches more of his games than I do when I'm working because I don't have time. So he'll give me the rundown, and he likes to wear his US gear. You know, Seb, sometimes when he comes home and he has like spare kits and stuff, you know, he'll throw one over to my grandpa. My grandpa's wearing it, you know, the next game. So we're big Lletget fans. You know, whatever jersey he's wearing, I will proudly wear.
Love that.
Quick, fun game before we move on to more Becky stuff. This game is called Becky or Sebastian. Just let us know who kind of takes on this role in the relationship. Okay. We'll start off really easy softball question. Who does the dishes?
Me.
That's Becky. All right. Who controls the remote?
Becky.
Who controls the remote control?
Sebastian.
Who controls the music?
Sebastian.
Really?
What does Becky G control? The important stuff.
In the important stuff. Yeah. I let him, you know, I do music as like a side job thing. He does music full time at home.
I like it. Who takes longer to get ready?
Me, for sure.
Who takes more selfies?
Sebastian, for sure.
Because you get it on like the third try, not like the 50th try.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
Yeah, I knew it.
Who's more affectionate?
That's a really good question. I would say it's maybe, is it possible to say both?
I think so. I mean, if you,
I would say both. We're both pretty affectionate. I mean, we're not like that annoying couple that's just like macking each other down at every party, but you know, a nice little handhold here and there, a little besito here and there. No, he's very affectionate. I would actually say maybe he's a little bit more affectionate than I am.
You added a title to your resume this year, podcast host. In La Sala, what has it been like launching your old podcast during a wild year? What's been your favorite part? And be honest with us, I am in the sweatpants that I woke up in this morning.
Yep. Oh, me too.
Are you living that life too, Becky G?
Oh, yeah. No, literally in La Sala was, I mean, such an incredible experience just because I am such a like over communicator in every aspect of my life. I love to talk about things and I like to know when, why, how, who. And with a podcast, there's really no time limit to talk about things. And what was really special about En La Sala was we really highlighted, you know, things happening within the Latinx community, and how we could provide resources. We dedicated and donated after every single episode, which was my favorite part, because, you know, how dare us talk about things impacting our communities and not doing anything about it. And so holding, you know, our partners, Amazon Music, accountable and really following through on making change was like one of my proudest things. And having the guests too, you know, having friends stop by La Sala, even though they couldn't physically be there with me. Sebastian was, I think, my only in-person guest, which was really funny. If anybody hasn't seen that, they have to see that, or they can actually, Seb just started vlogging, by the way, super side note. I started a podcast this year. Seb started vlogging. He's actually really good at. I was like, you're kind of a natural at this. I'm a little bit impressed, but I'm not gonna tell you yet. But yeah, no, the podcast was, I mean, it was such a good time, and it's something that I really hope to continue moving forward, just because the fans too, you know, being able to like dive in depth to these conversations. They're like, wow, I didn't know Becky thought that deep about absolutely everything. And I was like, yeah, it's the Pisces in me, you know.
Love it. Podcast host. You also have a new single out, No Drama.
Yes, No Drama.
No Drama, which I believe is, I feel like that should be like the theme for 2021 as we like move ahead, you know? Please. No more drama. What else do you have going on? What can you tell our viewers and listeners that you're up to? Because you got a lot on your plate, girl.
It's so much, you know. First off, I just want to say I'm just so blessed and so lucky that this year, although was challenging in many ways and still has been, and a lot of things in my personal life, but on a career note, I mean, the fact that I had a job during a pandemic, I mean, that's not the reality for a lot of people, you know. So just really trying to be there for my audience is just like in whatever way I can do that, whether it's through a podcast, creating more music. I just produced my very first film project and developing all other kinds of cool projects that I can't say just yet, but have to do with like the beauty space, which will be coming 2021. And it's just like, honestly, so much that all I could say is stay tuned. My fans hate when I say that, but it's true. Stay tuned because it's a lot.
Well, Becky, we feel so blessed and fortunate to have you on in what was a difficult year, finally putting a bow on this year for all of us. But this is definitely a highlight as we tape our season finale. Becky G, you have been on our list since we launched this only female podcast in MLS history a year and a half ago. Before we let you go, this weekend, the Seattle Sounders take on the Columbus Crew in the MLS Cup final. Who's Becky G going with, Columbus or Seattle? What is your pick, Becky G?
See, these are the questions that would get me in trouble, because that would be like,
no one playing.
No one, because I'm not there. You gotta say no one. So I'm gonna stick with no one, because I don't want him to come home and there be an argument of some sort. Don't rock the boat, for sure. You know, it's interesting because obviously I've been to many like Galaxy games since we first started dating. That's my favorite thing to do is go to the games. And I mean, Seattle's just got, I mean, now that obviously we're in a pandemic, it's so different, but just the fans, like the fans, I was like, I would watch when Galaxy would play Seattle, I would literally hear the apartment would start rumbling when they were in their stadium. So I don't know. I feel like, I don't know what that could be. I really don't. I mean, I want to say Seattle might take it, but who knows? It's kind of been a bit of a wild card. Like yeah. There was some teams that just didn't make it to the playoffs. I was just like, oh,
such a weird year. That's literally it's been the mantra. It's like anything can happen. So I think literally, I think that is a very fair and accurate assessment, Becky G. Thank you so very much. We hope you have an incredible holiday season. We are so grateful for your time and your insight, and we look forward to all the amazing things that are coming up with you. You're just an absolute rock star in every sense.
Thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to be back on in the future to talk about the future signing of ACFC.
We'll see you in LA soon.
Sounds great. I love it.
Susanna Collins.
Wow.
We've made it.
Wow. That was awesome. She is I mean, not only is she just like cool, you know, like you can tell, like
So
she's
cool.
like, I just want to kind of hang with Becky G, but she is
I was waiting for the invite. Like, first
I was like,
girls, you're
I'm like,
invited.
can we come to the fancy suite for the first game?
Becky, can we get matching sweatpants to do our podcasts in?
We'll work on that. But she's so passionate. She has such good reasons for wanting to be involved in this. And she's so informed. You know, she knows a ton about not only the game, but like the intricacies of knowing what it takes to own a team. And she's young. Like, what were you doing when you were 23, Jill?
When I was 23, I was living at home.
Mm-hmm.
I was waitressing, editing MLB.com highlights overnight, and working at a local news station called News 12, and I was making $10 an hour with a college degree.
I believe I was
and having some hangovers.
I was living in London.
Oh,
But you know, spending money that wasn't mine, aka student loans, and really just like putting off reality, going out a lot, drinking a lot of beer. You know, owning a football team really wasn't in my you know, my capacity. Wasn't part of was not part of my vision, nor was being a global superstar. So you know, she's got a leg up on 23-year-old.
As Becky G told us, should her and Sebastian bless this world with a girl, she'll be playing for Angel City FC in 20. We'll give Becky a little bit of time, Sebastian a little bit of time. 2040.
Okay.
Yeah,
Start them young.
And we'll be right here updating all of you on the call
and we'll look exactly the same too. Just
I'm keeping this.
P.S. You guys, it's because this is our last episode of the season, we decided to get a little festive, and I just wanted to show off. Jill has got a beautiful Christmas sweater on with her tree behind her.
She just found it on Amazon for me because I didn't have one.
You can see my tree in the background if you're watching this on YouTube, but my Christmas sweater, I just wanted to give this some love. It's a Bob Ross.
You are so wild with your shirts. Like, you find the best shirts.
I love me some Bob Ross, but it says, "Have yourself a happy little Christmas."
Ooh,
and it used to light up. It used to have these like little tree lights that lit up, but the battery's dead. So that's a shame. But anyway,
that is a shame.
We're in the festive spirits.
In the vein, Susanna, of our season finale. I really, I was so ready to be like, F it. Sorry, Lou. F it. But I don't want to reflect on this year. But you know what? When we kind of behind the scenes got to talking, we had a very fortunate year. It was our first full year of the call-up because we launched it a few months into the season last year.
Yep.
And we were flying high, sister, to start the year. We taped through the entire offseason. And you reminded me that we were invited by the Colorado Rapids to tape our season kickoff in downtown Denver in their headquarters. We had margaritas. We had an audience. People.
Kai Kamara, Keegan Rosenberry. My jackhammer was not there, but it is here again.
And then you know what? About a week after, the entire league and the world got shut down due to COVID-19. And we called each other upset that the league was going to be closed for 30 days.
Yep.
Right? And we were beside ourselves. We were, cracking up about the boxes we were putting our computers on to prop it up to try to shoot this thing. MLS was great. They overnighted us some microphones.
Yep.
We were grabbing the lamps out of our bedrooms to put in front of our light until we made the smart investment in selfie rings. We had no freaking idea what we were in for, but we did it. And we had Brad Guzan, from his little cell phone at his kitchen, beaming right up at his face to Sasha Kleshton, hanging out by his pool. And then, we're months into the pandemic. As we mentioned, George Floyd gets murdered in May. We see the beauty of the Black Lives Matter movement, the importance of it. We see our league get behind it. And we trudged on this year. We really did. And we had Don Garber on, kind of on the eve of the MLS's back tournament and what that was going to bring. I mean, looking back, this has been a challenging year. It's been a learning year, but I'm really grateful we did it, and I'm grateful to MLS. I'm grateful to the people that listened.
Yeah, I think you said it all.
Did I leave you speechless? I've never done that.
No, you kind of went through our whole season. We were kind of operating with no roadmap here. And as I think most people were during a global pandemic, there's no blueprint for how to make this work. And I give a huge amount of credit to the league for just continuing and trying to find ways to make this happen. We're gonna see an MLS Cup final on Saturday, which is something else. And we were able to continue to do our jobs in a different way. We had to pivot quite a bit, but I think that in some ways there were a lot of silver linings. I love the fact that we got to see a more humanized version of some of our players and coaches. We saw the insides of their homes. We saw them having to deal with their kids or their pets interrupting them. And, which I think is, I've said it before on different interviews and different podcasts, but the pandemic just was kind of this great equalizer. We were all in the same boat. And so in some ways, I think that we were able to allow people to open up a little bit more and, just to be humans. Because at the end of the day, yes, you can be an athlete, you can be a broadcaster, you can be a podcaster, you can be a producer, you can be a head coach. At the end of the day, we are all just human beings. And this was it was a humbling year, but I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like we're all probably a little bit stronger for it. And just very, very grateful for the conversations that we were able to have with all of our guests, Iko Para, Luchi Gonzalez, Will Trapp.
We sat in our bathrobes with Iko Para.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been, it's looking back, we really did have some beautiful and meaningful conversations. And I think that we made the most of it. We did it. And to end on such a high with someone like Becky G and talking about NWSL coming to Los Angeles and a female ownership group, it's hopeful. Yeah, exactly. Hope. And I think we can give ourselves a little holiday pat on the back.
That was quite the bow on our first full official season that threw curveballs to us like no one's business.
Woo!
Before we go, we wish our listeners a very happy holidays, a fantastic start to 2021 when we hope to see and hear and be in your radios all again. But before we go, Susanna Collins, we have a heck of a final ahead of us.
Oh my God. Yes, we do.
Real quick. Who are you going with?
Oh God, it's so hard to bet against Seattle. And I know it's not really like what I want to do because, it's kind of like share the wealth, Seattle. You've been there. This is their fourth time in the finals in the last 5 years. It's incredible.
I had them in the final. I just want to point that out. Well, I had Philly, Seattle. So that, but
half
Seattle,
of it is great.
I didn't count them out.
I'm done. I'm nowhere near, but it's just so hard to bet against Seattle. We saw what they did with 15 minutes left in the match against Minnesota, who were up 2-0 to come back 3-2. I mean, they can beat you in so many different ways. And so I would love to see Columbus and Mafre go out, with even a bigger bang winning. But in my gut, I feel like it's probably going to be Seattle.
Okay. Score.
I think we're going to see some goals in this one. I'm going to say 3-2 Seattle.
I was going 3-2. I'm going 3-2 Columbus.
Okay.
Because I do go with my brain sometimes, but I'm going to go with my heart. I'd love to see Columbus close things out with a bang. One of my favorite players in the league is Jonathan Mensah. So,
he's so sweet. Yes.
Go with that. Darlington Nagbe wins it with the Portland Timbers in 15, wins it with Atlanta United in 18. I think Darlington Nagbe, he's really good, and I think he wins 3 MLS Cups in 6 years with
that would
3
be
different.
Something else.
So I'm going Columbus 3-2, Seattle 3-2. We'll see. It'll probably be 0-0 and go to PKs. So
I know. or that, again, anything can happen in 2020. But guys, that match Saturday, December 12th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. TUDN, Unimas in the United States. And for our Canadian viewers and listeners, TSN TVA Sports in Canada. Guys, what a season. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for hanging with us all year long. We hope that we made you smile, made you chuckle, maybe you learned a thing or two. We certainly did. But yeah, always grateful to our viewers and our listeners. We couldn't do it without you.